Good evening, you're tuned into Bizworld. The gradual increase in the overnight policy rate, OPR, will not cause a significant impact, especially for the B40 group. According to Deputy Finance Minister 1, Datuk Muhammad Shahar Abdullah, any decision made by Bank Negara to adjust the monetary policy would be implemented in a controlled manner and gradually. As such, it would not affect the country's economic recovery momentum.
Kenaikan OPR secara beransur-ansur tidak memberi kesan yang ketara, khususnya kepada golongan B40. Ini adalah kerana 1/3 pinjaman oleh golongan B40 adalah pada kadar tetap, kebanyakan adalah untuk pinjaman pembelian kereta dan pembiayaan peribadi.
He was replying to a question from Senator Aziz Arifin on the field study implemented by the government on the preparedness of the people when the OPR is increased. Datuk Muhammad Shahar stated that if the OPR is increased hastily and at a large magnitude, it could hinder the economic growth and affect people's well-being. This was seen in the US, the Philippines, and Turkey, which recorded inflation rates of 9.1%, 6.1%, and 78.6%, respectively. Malaysia's Industrial Production Index IPI rose 12.1% per year-on-year in June, driven by the growth across all three components of the IPI. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, the manufacturing output component rose 14.5%, electricity sector increased 14.1%, while the mining segment grew 2.1%. In monthly terms, Malaysia's IPI grew 9.6% in June 2022 from May 2022. Compared to a year earlier, the IPI rose 12.1% in June 2022 versus the 4.1% year-on-year growth in May 2022. According to 12 economists surveyed in a Reuters poll, June's industrial production was expected to rise 4.9%. Malaysia is expecting to see 10 potential unicorns valued at over $1 billion by 2025. Acting Group CEO of Cradle Fund, Norman Matthew Van Heck, said the research shows that there are 10 emerging local startups currently.
Currently, we are targeting 5, but as at today, we've already got one with Qasim, and another one that's coming up very soon, that's going to be announced very soon. I think it's Graphjet, that's going to be listed in Nasdaq very soon. So that could be our second Malaysian unicorn. So, but in terms of our pipeline, there was a study done by KPMG and HSBC as well that has listed 10 emerging startups in Malaysia.
Earlier was the MOU signing ceremony between Cradle Fund and Microsoft Malaysia to empower startups in Malaysia. Cradle is still looking into all local startups, which stands at more than 2,000 companies, to identify potential unicorns. In order to develop these unicorns, a program called My Unicorn is developed under the Malaysian startup ecosystem roadmap Super. Super aims to transform Malaysia into a top 20 global startup ecosystem by 2030. The ringgit will eventually bounce back against the US dollar at year-end when macro fundamentals in Malaysia improve. According to AmBank research, the rebound will be backed by the inversion of the interest rate gap between Bank Negara and the US Federal Reserve, substantial downward pressure on the geopolitical conflicts, and improving confidence. The ringgit has depreciated sharply against the greenback this year, declining by about 6.7% year-to-date to a 4-year low of 4 ringgit and 45 sen. It attributed the local note's current weakness to a combination of factors, including the narrowing interest rates differential between Bank Negara and the Fed, as the latter's monetary tightening cycle is far from over. Besides that, the U.S. economy still looks better than the rest of the world, thus providing additional impetus to the dollar in the near term. Hartalega Holdings Berhad's first quarter net profit slumped to 88.28 million ringgit from 2.26 billion ringgit a year earlier, as glove average selling price, ASP, and sales volume declined. after rising to a record high during the crucial period of the COVID-19 outbreak. Hartalega revenue fell to 845.67 million ringgit in the first quarter ended June 30th, 2022, from 3.9 billion ringgit a year earlier. Higher energy and labor costs due to the increase in natural gas tariffs and Malaysia's minimum wage implementation had also affected the company's profitability. Looking ahead, Hartalega said the group is cautiously optimistic of the longer-term prospects of the glove sector, given the expected continued post-pandemic growth in demand for rubber gloves. That's all the time we have for Bizworld. I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for watching and keep tuning in to TV3.